From South Carolina Public Radio, this is the South Carolina Lede. I'm your host, Gavin Jackson, and this episode was recorded on September 5th, 2025, here at South Carolina Public Radio Studios in Columbia. And a little programming note, we want to see you in Rock Hill, Rock Thrill to Friends, at Rock Hill Brewing on September 11th from 6 to 8 p.m. We are having our live Lede taping. The Lede's going back to school. We're going to Rock Hill, and we're going to have some special guests with us, including Winthrop University professor Dr. Scott Huffman. You might know him because we talked to Scott a lot about political science things. He's a big data guy. Data! And we also have the Associated Press's Meg Kennard. Meg Kennard! We're going to have a huge little crew there talking about everything post-Labor Day as the campaign trail heats up as we sprint or slowly walk. I can't decide. Some days I'm running, some days I'm walking backwards as we head into the primary next June. So come see us at Rock Hill Brewing, September 11th from 6 to 8 p.m. You can register for free at southcarolinapublicradio.org. We can't wait to see you. We're going back to school. On this episode of The Lede, we look at the new hands-free cell phone driving law. It's in effect. Put your phone down right now. I'll wait. Thank you. Also, the Epstein files were the talk of the first week back in Washington, including among several of our lawmakers in the congressional delegation. We'll bring you their quotes. We also have some spicy campaign trail activity. See, just like we were talking about, as gubernatorial candidates continue to vie for President Donald Trump's endorsement. Mayan Schechter has a fascinating report on preterm births and autism research at the University of South Carolina. And on the way out, an update on the spookiest infrastructure in our state, dare I say, in the country. Is that South of Spooky? Can you find that anywhere you find podcasts? Speaking of South of Spooky and our diehard fans, we love to hear from you. Please call us. It's been a minute. I want to hear some voices. 803-563-7169. We promise we won't steal your voice and give it to AI. I'm legally required to say that. But you can also text it to us, 803-563-7169. It's fall, y'all. It's football season. AT's wearing a jersey. He's a grown man wearing a sports jersey. Let us know what jerseys you're wearing, 803-563-7169. All right, let's start with the politics section with some state news updates. Phones down. Phones down. Hands on the wheel, guys. Especially while you're driving, because that law is in effect September 1st. It's in effect, guys. No more holding your phone or pretending like you weren't texting and driving. We know you were. Stop scrolling Instagram. I don't know why you would be watching YouTube or Netflix. Just put it down. Cops can now pull you over if they see you holding your cell phone and hit you with a $100 fine and a $200 fine for your next offense. And also, subsequent offenses, that's 2 points on your license. So if you're going to call the lead, yell at your phone to do it. Just save it in your phone. There's Gavin, 803-563-7169. Siri, call Gavin. Did it work? Well, since it's calling, leave us a message. We have a little State House update for your calendars. Yes, I know we are in the off season, but no, that doesn't mean things stop. You may remember our dedicated podcast to the latest on SCDOT movements. That was from a House committee hearing in August. Now there are 2 Senate Medical Affairs subcommittee hearings scheduled for next week, September 10th and 11th, and another on October 1st, which will focus exclusively on a new abortion ban bill that opponents are calling the most extreme abortion ban ever introduced in the state. That bill, S-323, will criminalize doctors, patients, and others who share information and provide support when it comes to that specific reproductive medical care. Let's scoot up to Congress, which was back in session this week after its August recess, and there are 11 working days left until the government runs out of money, shuts down if a spending bill or continuing resolution isn't passed by the end of the month, ahead of the new federal fiscal year that starts October 1st. So yeah, you'd think the big focus of this week would be dollars and cents, continuing resolutions, whatever it takes to make sure that the federal government's funded come October 1st. But nope, the week was dominated by the House Oversight Committee receiving more than 30,000 files from the Department of Justice related to the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, who in 2019 died in a prison cell while he was facing charges for sexually abusing teenage girls. The Associated Press reports that most, if not all, the text documents posted Tuesday had already been made public. Notably, the probable cause affidavit and other records from the 2005 investigation into Epstein contained a notation including that they had been previously released in a 2017 public records request. We expect more, but this is the first tranche of documents. Now, on Capitol Hill Tuesday, the House Speaker and a bipartisan group of lawmakers met with survivors of abuse by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. House Speaker Mike Johnson said in a quote that the objective here is not just to uncover, investigate the Epstein evils, but also to ensure that this never happens again and ultimately to find out why justice has been delayed for these ladies for so very long. And that was after more than a 2-hour-long hearing with 6 of the survivors. But you're also wondering, Gavin, okay, like Epstein, that's everywhere. Why are we talking about it? Well, that's because also in the hearing was 1st District Congresswoman Nancy Mace, who emerged visibly distraught and noted that she had a panic attack while listening to the victims, as she herself is a survivor of sexual assault and abuse. Mace emphasized accountability as the first step toward healing for the victims, saying, quote, "Real healing for survivors starts when predators are held accountable. It's time to put prosecution first so victims, survivors, and the country can finally begin to heal," quote. Now, Mace has sponsored legislation to disclose files and was the 21st signature on the discharge petition, something neither Speaker Johnson nor the White House is supportive of. Johnson, meanwhile, is calling for support of the Oversight Committee work, which includes more disclosures from the Department of Justice and others. And that's something that 2nd District Congressman Joe Wilson is supportive of as well, telling the Hill newspaper, quote, "We have a very positive alternative." That's what he said as he emerged from the meeting. But that view is not shared by all. Kentucky Republican Congressman Thomas Massie, sponsor of the discharge petition, is 2 votes shy of going around Johnson to hold a vote on a bill that would require Department of Justice to release all the Epstein files publicly. So we are at this little loggerheads, as they say. A lot of competing attitudes here. And NBC News reports that both White House officials and Republican leaders are working behind the scenes to stave off an internal revolt from those rank-and-file Republicans on the Epstein matter. In fact, 5th District Congressman Ralph Norman said a White House official called him to see how he would vote on the Epstein resolution. He replied that he wouldn't sign the petition, but would support it if Massie and California Democrat Ro Khanna collect 218 signatures and bring it to the floor. So here's Norman saying, quote, "When they get 218, I'll vote for it. What I don't like about it is it's just a hate Trump bill. The discharge petition is nothing more than a hate Trump bill," quote. Remember, we're also talking about Norman and Mace competing for Trump's endorsement here, if you want to add that factor into it. And Norman was also the only Republican to vote for the release of the files on the House Rules Committee more than a month ago, but not when it got to the floor. We're all over the map here if we had a little wall of papers and string. But then in another statement, quote, "The release of the Epstein files is not about politics." That's what 6th District Congressman Jim Clyburn, the state's only Democrat in the delegation, tweeted on September 4th. He continued by saying, quote, "It's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about the sexual abuse and trafficking of children. Epstein and Maxwell orchestrated it, but their clients have escaped accountability for decades. The victims deserve justice," quote. So this is something that's not going away anytime soon. And neither is the campaign trail. That's right. We have a little update for you. Of course we do. Now, as the fight for President Donald Trump's love and attention, aka his endorsement, from Republican candidates vying for governor continues to heat up / dominate the race, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette added some more fuel to the fire. You will remember that Evette is up with TV ads focusing on her name ID and her ties to President Trump. We also shared an ad she's running on digital platforms that hits Congresswoman Mace on her past wavering support for Trump that stemmed from the January 6th insurrection attempt by Trump's followers. Now, Evette's campaign put out an email highlighting a Washington Post interview from 2023 in which Mace said she would not weigh in on the 2024 presidential election until the field was set, and she also declined to attend events featuring potential candidates, including Trump. Take a listen to this interview from January 19th, 2023.
Donald Trump will be in your state very soon to campaign for his presidential election. Will you support him?
Well, I actually have two constituents right now in the first congressional district, Tim Scott and Nikki Haley, who many in the media are touting as potential presidential candidates in 2024. I am going to keep my powder dry until the field is set. One of the things that I will be doing is I'm going to be rolling out a series of candidate forums with the different presidential candidates. And so I will not be attending that event, nor will I be weighing in on the presidential election until the field is set and we've had a chance to hear from all the candidates. I want to give them all a fair shake. And what I do hope to see on the ticket in 24 is a more diverse ticket than Republicans have ever had, whether that is minorities on the ticket or a woman. Those are things that I support and I know are desperately needed in our country today. We also need someone who's going to unify not only the party, but unify independent voters who've traditionally voted Republican, but don't feel like they have a home anymore. And that's what I'm looking for in a candidate who will bring all those voices together, do it in a way that's kind, that's loving, that's strong, and that will bring our country together. I mean, I'm out there all the time, and people are really angry at us right now, as they should be. And we've got a lot of work to do.
That was Congresswoman Nancy Mace there talking back in January 2023 with the Washington Post. And that's a pretty tough soundbite for Mace, as she tries to sell that she always was and always will be on Team Trump. Mace hit back by sharing a story from the salacious news site Fitz News about business issues Effitt's husband had more than 25 years ago, before Pam even knew her husband. So that's a little campaign trail update. It's getting hot out there, folks. I know we're in meteorological fall right now, but it's still very hot, especially in the campaign trail. But let's move to another story. We have a special report from Mayan Schechter on premature births and autism research being done at the University of South Carolina. Take a listen.
At 16, Cynthia Robinson was told she could never have children because of a rare health condition. It was life-altering, she says, when she discovered at age 27 that she was pregnant with her son, Hayden.
I wasn't supposed to be able to physically do it. So the last 2 months that I was pregnant with Hayden, I actually had to stay in Richland Hospital because I was just so high risk. Either I was fine or he wasn't. It would go back and forth. And then finally, we delivered 3 months early. I was 26 weeks when I actually delivered Hayden.
Hayden's tiny body measured at just 12 inches long.
He was just a little itty-bitty thing, and I'll never forget it because, of course, I had to be put under because the anesthetic stuff did not work for me with my C-section. So the nurse ended up taking my mom's phone and snapping pictures of Hayden for me. And they said, well, when he came out, he wasn't breathing, but he was swinging.
It was at the hospital, not long after Hayden's birth, that Robinson learned he could be at higher risk of an autism diagnosis. That linkage, premature birth and the risk of autism, was the focus of a pilot study run by the Carolina Autism and Neurodevelopment Research Center, known as CAN, at the University of South Carolina. Robinson agreed to be part of the study, opening the door for resources and home visits. By his third birthday, Hayden was diagnosed with level 3 autism, the most severe on the autism spectrum disorder.
I think it was pretty surprising to us to see such strong associations between these two measures, heart rate and temperature, in the NICU, and then autism symptoms a year later.
That's Jessica Bradshaw, an associate professor in USC's psychology department and an executive member of CAN. Bradshaw and Robin Dale, a research professor in the College of Nursing and the former director of the Perinatal, Pediatric, and Family Research Center, have now embarked on a first-of-its-kind 5-year study funded by the National Institute of Health to look at the linkage. They will follow 260 babies, some weighing under 2 pounds, born in the Midlands and admitted to the NICU right after birth until they reach 3 years old. They will track heart rate and temperature in the NICU that could offer early signs of an autism risk, and they'll visit the homes for assessments to give the families, they said, a circle of support. Babies born before 32 weeks old, Dale says, are a good group to study because
their systems are so immature and they can't tolerate the stress. We're really studying stress intensely, and if we show that more stress to these very preterm infants is leading to more diagnosis of autism, then we really need to focus on decreasing the stress to the babies.
The goal of the study is not to prevent autism, but to better understand the signals, what doctors and parents should be looking for from the start. Here's Bradshaw again.
We're interested in understanding this link between preterm birth and autism, so we can really understand more about mechanisms of autism. The second goal is to be able to identify earlier so that we can develop and provide supports to these infants and their caregivers and their families to improve overall health and well-being.
Now 31-year-old Robinson says she's had to adjust to a different parenting experience than others. Hayden, who can now say about 15 words and walk on his own, has good days and bad, but like any parent, Robinson says she's learned to enjoy the small moments, and she's grateful, she adds, for the study helping her to get there.
It's those little moments of like him coming around here and climbing up on the couch and then looking at me, jumping like, ha ha, did it. These little moments are everything for us.
Raising Hayden has also given Robinson a desire to help other parents just like her. In November, she'll start that journey by entering nursing school.
Super interesting report there from Mayan. Thank you so much. And you can find that and more of her great reporting and everyone's great reporting from around here at southcarolinapublicradio.org. You can also register for free for the live lead taping on September 11th at Rock Hill Brewing. Now we speak closing 6 to 8 p.m. We'll see you there. And on the way out, speaking of fall, speaking of spooky season as it approaches, we have a note about the spookiest infrastructure in the state. Dare I say the Southeast? Dare I say the country? You dare me? Why don't you call if you don't dare? I dare you to. I dare you to call. 803-563. Now, of course, sharp-eared, discerning listeners would know what I'm talking about. We're talking about the Poinsett Bridge Heritage Preserve, made famous by its episode in South of Spooky. Well, that bridge is now closed for a preservation project through March 31st. I'm sorry. You guys might want to listen to the podcast because it's going to take some time, as Poinsett Bridge will undergo several months of preservation work, which will include repointing the historic lime mortar, replacing missing stones, resurfacing the bridge, and adding a guardrail. And that's probably a good thing. Now, the preservation project will ensure the bridge continues to stand for another 200 years. Yeah, that's right. 200 years, guys. Check out that episode. Now, if you don't know about this bridge, which SCDNR is not mentioning its spooky past, then you need to check out South of Spooky, our limited run podcast, looking at some of the spookiest stories in the South, including Poinsett Bridge up there in Greenville County. So you can find South of Spooky anywhere you find the lead. Welcome to the wind down section, our little break from the news. We're glad you're here, along with A.T. Shire, lead podcast producer and Eagles fan.
Noted Eagles fan.
Eagles fan.
It's a big Go Birds morning.
Congratulations.
Okay? Thank you so much.
On behalf of the lead.
Thank you, Gavin. Before we break down this game, I got to mention, we're going to do a full game breakdown, folks. Don't worry.
Oh,
God. That's not true.
45 minutes talking about sports now.
I don't know why this episode's an hour long. We did get some texts to the line that I'd like to go through. We got one from correspondent Kevin. He says, hey, AT, I was supposed to text Salt Lake ideas, but I don't know if you like Cheesecake Factory, so I won't. Very funny joke, very funny bit, Kevin. So instead he says, go Birds. He's on location in Dauphin, Alabama.
Okay.
But speaking of being on location, Gavin, we have a text here. Greetings from SV time with Robert and Abby and our 3 fur babies on board in Granada.
Oh, man.
Daylight savings time. I love it, but it starts too early and lasts too long. I vote to start first Sunday in May and end the last Sunday of September. I think that's pretty judicious, honestly. They're trying to disconnect, but they have to follow hurricane reports in college football.
Okay.
Got to figure out how to set up a VPN. Look at the picture they sent us.
Oh, my God. A sunset on the open sea.
Is this not amazing?
Beautiful.
In Granada. Unreal. Thank you for the text, everybody.
Just love that they're keeping in touch with us. Like, we are one of the few that they're like, we're off the grid, but we will make time for you guys.
Yeah, for hyper-local
such a
celebrity
flex.
Gavin Jackson.
Well, the news. It's more about the news and the...
No. No. But
Starlink.
speaking not about you, hyperlocal celebrity Gavin Jackson, but more about me and the Eagles. Great game. Started weird. Best defender on the Eagles spitting on the quarterback.
We've all been there. I've been reprimanded for that.
Then
before.
we had an hour delay during that game, and as someone with a child, I do not appreciate NFL games that go until 12:30 at night.
Where do I write my letter?
I was talking to Gavin about this earlier, about how being busy with kids and the Eagles winning the Super Bowl this last year, the second Super Bowl in commanding fashion, might I remind you, against the Chiefs, who had won twice in a row also. Just that's some little
Set
fodder.
it up.
I really thought that maybe they had lost some sort of grasp on me, maybe some of the love of it had died, or the hate of it, really, And when the game started with the weird spit and the ejection and everything, I was so stunned that I didn't have that same old Eagles feeling, okay? And I thought, maybe this is it for me. Maybe I'm turning a corner and I'm just going to become some fair-weathered guy. And by the third quarter, I was screaming at the TV.
Right back in it.
Yeah, they dragged me right back in, and I am sick. I'm addicted.
And then this is going to be something that you won't even be thinking about this in 3 more weeks when we're like just in the throes of
and
it.
I'm
what are you talking about? I've always been a fan. I never questioned my loyalty.
I never said that.
How dare you?
They'll play this clip at the intervention. It's going to be something where, like, AT,
Remember, you thought that way.
We hooked you up to the vitals machine during the game, and it is not healthy for you.
That's what happens when you get to the very tail end of like the off season. You're like, maybe I've changed. And
I think I'm cured.
You're like screaming at the Cowboys.
I was so it went so late that Caitlin had to go to sleep.
Yeah,
and I did wake her up 2 or 3 times because I was yelling.
I'm looking forward to every week talking about this.
It's
so great.
Gavin, 17 more games, 16 more games, 17 more weeks. Okay, babe?
So
okay, they're playing tonight in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Who?
The Chiefs and the Chargers. Chargers, go Chargers, go!
California.
Is Taylor going to be there?
She doesn't have a tour going on, right?
I don't think so.
We're so close here. So we've talked about Epstein. We've talked about Taylor Swift. We're becoming mainstream media.
Bill Belichick
losing.
Jordan.
I do want to point out, Gavin, that I love the idea that we go to Poinsett Bridge. We do our episode.
We've been there.
Oh,
we tipped off DNR,
and then immediately after we set foot, immediately. Hey, if we're talking about lifespan of the bridge, this is a blink of an eye. Okay, and they were like, okay,
oh boy,
those two guys have trod on it. Well, AT limped on it because he had a torn Achilles.
Oh my God, you had the boot.
Yeah, the injury had occurred, and then they're like, okay, we got to fix this.
We're sitting on the bridge in the dark because I don't think we brought our camp lights with us.
We forget them every time.
We're just waiting, and people just keep showing up. And
strangers.
Just strangers like waiting for something to happen. I don't want to ruin the episode for you because
there is so much uncovered.
We're promoting it like it's a cable.
It's hard hitting.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to be disturbed.
Yeah, by what
Actually,
you
the
hear.
last episode of the South of Spooky series, there was an encounter.
So many people I talked to who have listened to it can't hear it. And
it's hard. It's really hard.
I can't not hear it.
Yeah.
I hear it so much.
You have to check it out. And I know.
That's what it sounds like.
I
hear it. I still don't believe it. I don't
called
believe
my tracks.
Yeah.
When
AT was yapping.
Yeah. If you want to engage a spook or specter or something on beyond the veil,
you gotta
bring AT because he'll just talk the whole time. Enough so that it's going to prompt the spirit to engage too, because he's going to be like, I got something to say, or they're going to be like, I got something to say.
So basically what we're saying is these disembodied dead spirits are better than all of our listeners who don't call.
You gotta listen to the episode too, because there was a time when AT is like, I mean, it was hysterical because you were forced to be quiet at times because they were trying
Gavin thought there was something not right with me. I was quiet for 2 straight hours.
Trying to like bring about the spirits. And then only once he got to start talking again, did we encounter?
The thing is, okay, so we'll spoil it a little bit. Okay, so Gavin and I were sitting around for so long, and they were showing us what they do, and I was just being very quiet. And then I eventually asked the question, so how often does this stuff work? It's not working for hours. They go, honestly, it just works better when we talk. They want to join. And so then boy talked.
Yeah, and then we were talking about the...
Hours of babbling.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's good. Check it out. Check it out.
The veracity of whether hills were mountains and mountains were hills.
Oh, gosh,
what scary
right.
movies we like.
We are talking about The Conjuring.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Yeah.
Lorraine.
And that is when it happened.
Yeah.
But
So,
you have to listen.
check it out. Call us up.
Tis the season. If you're a spooky season person at
You
all,
have to listen
If
to
you
it.
have kids, if you enjoy Gavin and I's banter,
It's even more so.
You'll love it even more just because you know us. You know.
we wrote it. We wrote, produced,
And
acted, voice acted.
I would make Gavin say things he would never actually say.
It's fantastic.
very good. Anyway, folks.
2 more years, we'll get you some new episodes, guys. We promise.
It's part of the process. It's all part of our creative process. Yep. Okay. Anyway, have a good weekend. Go Cox. Go Birds.
Yeah, fly. Give us a shout, 803-563-7169, or a text message like some of our wonderful listeners who are out and about. We love hearing from you guys. You can always show us your appreciation by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast, or, again, voicemail 803-563-7169. And you can stay up to date with the latest news on scetv.org and southcarolinapublicradio.org. And don't forget to support your local newspapers. The South Carolina Lead is a production of South Carolina Public Radio. Our producer is A.T. Shire. Amy Crouch is our supervising producer. Sean Birch is our executive producer. This podcast is produced with support from PRX and is made possible in part by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, as well as listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina. Thank you. For the South Carolina Lead, I'm Gavin Jackson. Be well, South Carolina.
9 marks, Gavin. What a great script.
TGIF!
What a great script you've written.
It's about 6 words. I got a leaky faucet here.